you know about the steroid use. You get it. You don't believe what you were seeing, even though I thought he was en route to the Hall of Fame before he started using the steroids. I also don't condemn him the way that a lot of people do, because Mark McGwire and those boys started it, as far as I'm concerned. Not literally, but figuratively speaking. You know, when they saved baseball after the cancellation of the World Series in 1994, here they come back in 1998, and they resurrected the sport with the home run chase, the single-season home run chase between him and Sammy Sosa. It wasn't Barry Bonds that went on Capitol Hill and forgot how to plead the fifth, saying, I'm not here to talk about the past. It
or
wasn't,
speak English.
That's right. It wasn't. I was getting to that. It wasn't Barry Bonds who showed up with an interpreter. Sammy Sosa speaking English all these years, but when it's time to show up on Capitol Hill, he got a damn interpreter, for crying out loud. Just embarrassing.
Smart move.
You got to give it to Sammy Sosa on that one.
How was it resourceful and inventive?
I'm just saying, the point is that Sammy, you know, Barry Bonds didn't do those things. But Barry Bonds did admit to the steroid use, talking about he thought it was flaxseed oil and arthritis cream. And Barry Bonds did openly admit that it was inexcusable how he had treated a lot of people during his playing career. Not just contemporaries, but other people surrounding the sport or whatever. He's openly spoke about that and apologized for that. But, you know, he was I only met him once or twice. He was always nice to me when it happened, but he had that acerbic kind of reputation. So when it's over for you as a player and nobody has to deal with you, they're going to remember all of those things, which is what makes you feel like you've got a death sentence. That's why I'm saying I'm not justifying it, Max, or anything like that. I'm just saying what he said is very believable, because even when he was playing, you had people saying, we can't wait until he's gone because he'll get his comeuppance at that time. They were saying this while he was playing, and he's acknowledging that's what's happening there.
Let me be very clear about this. Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
He should have been on the first vote in spite of this of the PEDs because of this.
8 times he's been denied. He's got 2 times left.
He should have been first ballot.
I think so.
McGwire and Sosa, no. Because the question is, were you a Hall of Famer before you started juicing?
Right. And they weren't.
Barry Bonds was clearly one of the 4 greatest left fielders of all time before he ever started juicing.
Absolutely.
Ted Williams, Stan Musial, Ricky Henderson, Barry Bonds, and he may have been first. I'm not saying what order it is. He's one of the 4. He was one of the greatest players who ever lived. He led the league in slugging.
30 for 30.
He led the league in slugging percentage 3 times, on base percentage 4 times before he ever started with anything. So he should have been in the Hall of Fame. But ghosting him now is okay for baseball because he never copped to it. I don't think he's telling the truth about what he knew he was doing and everything. It's pretty obvious. At the age of 36, I just want to explain this to you. If you have an on-base percentage over 400, that's amazing. If you have a slugging percentage over 500, you're a slugger. Barry Bonds was putting up on-base percentages, on base, not slugging, over 500, 600 one year. It means 60% of the time he's reaching first base at least. Slugging percentages, 863, 7. He never did it before. 812. He never did any of this before. He's hitting 370. He's hitting 362 with power. As great as he was before, and he was doing it between the ages of 36 and 39. It was clearly not the same guy anymore. It was a new Barry Bonds. That guy, and here's the reason that they're ghosting him, I think, without even realizing it. When McGwire broke the single-season mark, as did Sosa, Hank Aaron still held the all-time mark. Babe Ruth was the last guy who had the single-season home run record. He had 60, all-time home run record, 714. Then Maris got the single season. Hank Aaron got the all-time. Barry Bonds was the first dude to unify the titles again. He's the single season and the all-time home run record, and he did it by cheating. And that's the problem, because he never copped to it.
Yeah, but you could say that's the problem. He never copped to it. But we also got to understand why others copped to it. Mark McGwire was looking for a job in baseball. And you had guys like Tony La Russa willing to hire him. He sat down with Bob Costas, the great Bob Costas. He copped to it to some degree or whatever years later. And it was when he was looking for a job. What's worse? That's number one. Number two, when Barry Bonds was sitting there and smacking those home runs and breaking Hank Aaron's record and all of this other stuff, I saw packed houses in stadiums watching him. I saw
they ain't giving the money back.
They ain't giving the money back. So what I'm saying is that, listen, here's my issue. My problem is twofold. Number one, when it comes to the Hall of Fame, like with Pete Rose, you know how I am about how Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. I'm adamant about that. Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame, period. You can sit up there and say whatever you want about him, but don't deny what you saw on the baseball field. And if you're baseball and you're willing to celebrate these guys while they're playing, doing what they do, then you don't forget come Hall of Fame time. But as it pertains to Barry Bonds, we all recognize the fact that he's one of the greatest hitters we have ever seen in the history of Major League Baseball. Contemporaries in the sport defer to him. They've looked for counsel from him in the past. You trying to tell me he can't help a baseball team? How come Mark McGwire gets to do it, but he doesn't?
I agree with that. I got a story for you.
Even though he did have a job
before,
before,
Friday night
Florida
fights
and stuff like that.
here on ESPN in the late 90s with Brian Kenny. And during 98, we used to say, like during commercial break with big baseball fans, we used to say, you know, it's too bad Barry Bonds missed this juice ball era. You know, they were calling it a juiced ball back then, even though obviously the players were.
Right.
And because look at what McGwire and Sosa are doing. And Bonds might be entering the decline stage of his career. Imagine if he would get in on this juiced ball era, what would happen? And you know what Barry Bonds eventually did? He got in on it.
Well, he got in on it. Why? Because according to Mark Finnerawada and Williams, when they wrote that book, Game of Shadows, and the excerpts were in Sports Illustrated, what we were told, based on their reporting, is that Barry Bonds was always straight and narrow and playing the sport of baseball until that happened.
He got cheated out of his status,
Until it happened, and he saw that he was being cheated.
He's right.
Because of what they did.
And last thing, real quick.
That's what happened, and that instigated it.
Last thing on Bonds, it's almost not his fault that when he jumped on the stuff, he made a mockery of the game. Like McGwire and Sosa hit a bunch of home runs, but Bonds was already so good that when he jumped on the stuff, it's like it wasn't even baseball anymore.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.